So, this is my first video. I finally talked myself into sitting down and actually making a video about my thoughts. I've actually been planning to do it for a long time. This is the first time I've actually sat down and do it. And really, the thing that's inspired me most to come out and do it has been the election and a lot of the interesting things going on right now. Honestly, I can't believe where we're at in society and culture right now. If you would have asked me a year ago if we'd be where we are right now with SJWs and the alt right and you know all this stuff going on the internet and Trump and Sanders and all this stuff, I wouldn't have believed it a few years ago, most likely. But one thing that's interested me about this election is how everyone has been wrong. How all the commentators that have come out and said something about this election, they've all just been wrong all over, especially about Trump, some about Sanders too. And so I'm going to try to give my take as a non-regular commentator, partially because I think I'm a little bit of a genius when it comes to this sort of thing. Maybe I don't have the credentials of these people, but I will say this. I've predicted the last two elections correctly. Nobody knew it because I wasn't on TV or the internet, but I predicted Barack Obama twice in a row, and I beat the predictions of most people in my family who said it wasn't going to happen. I was like, nah, it's going to happen, man. And I'll tell you why I think that Donald Trump is going to win the election. And I think he's going to win mostly because I think there are a lot of similarities between Donald Trump and Barack Obama and how they've been viewed by society and the media. And that's partly why I think it's going to win. So I'm going to give 6 reasons, pretty much, why I think this is the case. The first reason is a very simple one, and that is everyone's saying he can't win. People also said Barack Obama couldn't win in 2008. They said it was crazy, that you had to be crazy to think that Obama was going to win. I don't know if it was quite that extreme, but that's how I remember it. But the fact that people are saying that he can't win, that tells me something. Because humans, and American humans in particular, because they're, obviously a different species, but American humans in particular, we kind of have this view of the underdog. We have this idea that you're the underdog. They're saying you can't do it, but you can do whatever you want if you put your mind to it, man. Just put your mind to it. You can do anything. That's kind of our view. So if people start telling people that, hey, you can't do this, you can't win, well, our hearts and minds are going to say, nah, man, that guy can do it. And that's what happened with Obama. Is people said he couldn't do it, and a lot of people looked at him as the underdog. And, I mean, he didn't sway all of his votes, but swayed a lot of his votes. The second reason is that a lot of the arguments that are being used against Trump are not very good arguments, and a lot of them are the same failed arguments that are used against Obama. And the biggest one is just the complete misunderstanding of political science terms. This happened with Obama. People said, Obama's a socialist, Obama's a communist. Now, maybe he believes that stuff. I don't know. I haven't really done that much research on it. But I can tell you that the way he ran, though, the way his proposals and what he actually did, was not socialism or communism. It was just sort of a center-left kind of policy. And because people kept throwing this word at him, even though it didn't really fit that well, a lot of voters just saw through it. Now, when it comes to Donald Trump, we're seeing a similar tactic. But in this time, it's fascism. It's Nazism. It's you're Hitler. And we're looking at that, and people still are looking at that, and they're hearing it, and they're like, it just doesn't fit, dude. He's not a dictator. He hasn't advocated, going into other countries, taking their land, conquering them, and, territorial expansion. He hasn't advocated exterminating an entire group of people. He hasn't advocated a dictatorship. So people just, they look at it and they say that's it doesn't fit. The third reason that I think Trump will win is that there's another argument that people are using against him that, again, didn't work against Obama, and they think it'll work against Trump, and I don't think it will, and that is guilt by association. When Obama was running, there was a lot of guilt by association. There was, well, he knows Bill Ayers. He knows this crazy pastor who's saying all this stuff about America. He knows all these crazy people. Obviously, he's just as bad as they are, and you shouldn't vote for him for that reason. And again, didn't work against Obama. I don't think it worked against Trump. And with Trump, what the argument they're making is, well, he is supported by a white nationalist. There are all kinds of white nationalists and actual racists who have come out and said, hey, I like this guy. That means he must be a white nationalist and a racist too. And I think most people are going to see through that and go like, no, that doesn't work. The fourth reason why I think Trump will win is that people are using a multiplicity of quotes, kind of a shotgun blast of quotes, to try to make him look like a devil. So pretty much, kind of what Megyn Kelly did is when she came at him with like all these quotes, like 3 or 4 different quotes, like you called women dogs, pigs, slobs, all at one point with no context or anything, just a shotgun blast of quotes. And we're seeing this a lot. They're going back into his history and they're saying, he said this about the housing bubble. He said this about immigrants. He said this about poor people. And they're just throwing all these quotes out at the same time in the hopes that it will stick. And psychologically, I don't think that is very effective. I think that if you look at how people think, they don't respond to things like that. What I think is much more effective is just finding one significant quote and then using that one significant quote to attack a person. And I think that Trump's campaign has been able to do that, but Clinton's campaign has not. So in other words, Trump has found the one quote to use against Hillary Clinton. And that one quote is, she wants to put coal miners out of business. That one quote by itself is 10 times more powerful than any of those Trump quotes. You throw those quotes at Trump supporters, they're just like, yeah, whatever. You know what? I've said things too. I'm not surprised that Trump said bad things. But when you throw that one quote, they start going, oh man, this woman wants me to lose my job. This woman wants to put me out of business. I'm afraid of that. I'm scared of that. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to lose my business. And just that one quote has been so much more powerful than anything the other side's been able to do. The fifth reason why I think Trump's going to win is that he has become the candidate of the internet. And this, I think, is huge. I think that if you look at the internet and you look at culture, you'll see that pretty much the things that happen on the internet, things that become popular on the internet, are predictive of the things that will actually become popular in real life. I think if you look at it, social justice really started to become popular in around 2008, around the time of Obama. And now it's a real world phenomenon. It matured from that internet status. And also, if you look at it, when Barack Obama was running for president, he was huge on the internet. We had all kinds of memes, and we had YouTube videos and YouTube channels like Obama Girl. They all came out and they supported Obama. They made music videos about Obama. They made, parodies that would support Obama. They made fun of John McCain. And this kind of trickled down, and this enthusiasm eventually caught on, and that's partly what allowed Obama to win. And the other thing is, with all the past Republican candidates, we didn't see any of that. There was nobody on YouTube who was like, oh yeah, Romney, I'm going to make a Romney video. I'm Romney guy, I'm Romney girl. No one did that. No one cared. No one liked Romney. But with Trump, we see that people on the internet have really taken to this guy. And a lot of times it's been kind of people that are a little outside the mainstream. But it doesn't matter. They've come with their YouTube videos. They've made music videos about Trump. They've made all these things about Trump, all these memes. Eventually this stuff is going to catch on. Eventually it is going to be predictive of the real world once again, I think, and that internet enthusiasm is going to lead him to win. The last reason is that I think the candidate that has the best chance to actually beat Trump is not going to run. And that candidate is Bernie Sanders. He is not going to get the nod from the Democrats. They don't want an old white man to be the representative of their party, which is all about being progressive and all about women's rights and equality and all this stuff. They're not going to put an old white man up there to represent that party. They're just not going to do it. But if you look at it, all the arguments I've made, none of them apply to Bernie Sanders. He could flip it. For instance, people are saying he can't win. They're going to look at him as the underdog. People are going to misuse political science terms. They're going to call him a communist and all these other things. People are going to use guilt by association on him. They're going to try to associate him with like Che Guevara and all these other people so that they can demonize him. People are going to make arguments, all kinds of these arguments that we've talked about, and he is going to be able to use the same tactics as Trump. He's going to be able to use them. And also, when it comes right down to it, Bernie Sanders may not be quite as big on the internet. Let's face it, he's still pretty big on the internet. And I could definitely see kind of an Obama girl situation happening with Bernie Sanders. You're going to have Bernie Sanders girl, which would be kind of a creepy video to make a video about how you're in love with a 74-year-old man, but I wouldn't put it past anybody. Just like I wouldn't put it past anybody to make a lot of the Trump videos we've seen. So I think that if Sanders and Trump were to run, much more interesting race. You would see a much, much more interesting race. But as it stands right now, I look at it and I say, I think my instincts are right. I think Trump has the best chance to win this election. And that's my first video. Hope you guys enjoyed it.